Welcome to Mumu's Lore. Today I will be drawing a picture of Thumbelina. I really like the story Thumbelina. I think it's really cute, and there's actually a little bit of a lesson, though I don't think I'll be able to go over it. You can kind of do a literary analysis if you want to. And also, please don't mind the angle of this drawing. I didn't know how to prop up my phone correctly to be able to record, so it kind of looks like that. But here's an actual, like, the actual angle, kind of. If you haven't heard of Thumbelina, unfortunately, you might be living under a rock, because Thumbelina's story has been adapted in so many different types of animation and so many different culture. There's a lot of stories similar to Thumbelina as well. So, yeah, but it was written by Hans Christian Andersen, and he writes a lot of different fairy tales. He was a Danish author, I believe. To kind of summarize the story of Thumbelina, Thumbelina is a tiny girl, as you know, big as a thumb. A woman really wanted a child, and so she was given a seed to plant, and the plant turned into a flower, and she, was born through that flower. And her adventure starts with her getting kidnapped by a toad, because the toad wanted her to be her son's bride. It was kind of crazy because I think Thumbelina is human, just tiny human, right? And then she ends up escaping thanks to a friendly fish and a friendly butterfly. But then she ends up getting captured by a beetle of some kind. Oh no, a May bug, a May beetle, or like a doodle bug. I don't know. And who later kind of discards her because his friends thought that she was weird and ugly. Yeah. Okay, so I'm almost done with the sketch, and take a look at the sketch before I start ruining it by coloring it, because I don't know how to color. So I used a 5 Below marker set to kind of outline everything, and I started kind of ruining some parts of it, especially when I picked up the marker side of this, especially for the dress. You will see yeah, it wasn't very pretty. Anyways, back to the story. Winter comes and Thumbelina ends up living with a mouse. However, it comes at a price. The mouse tries to make her marry his rich neighbor, a mole. The mole was blind, controlling, and lived underground. She didn't want to marry him, but she didn't have a lot of choice. While preparing for the wedding, she finds a swallow nearly frozen in a tunnel, and she ends up helping heal the bird. Just before the wedding, last minute, the swallow comes and rescues her, and she escapes with the swallow. And they fly far, far away, and then they head to a valley of flowers. There, she meets someone like her, a fairy prince. And eventually he asked her to marry him, and she said yes. And I think that's the whole point of the story. It's about choice, especially as a woman. The fairy prince doesn't take her. He asks her to marry him, and Thumbelina finally gets to say yes to someone and finally has a choice. Anyways, I kind of rushed the background, you can probably tell, but I hope you enjoyed.